Martha Eicher leaned forward in her seat as the driver turned the hired car onto the familiar lane. It was gut to be back home, for sure and for certain. When she'd left home to visit her cousin Brenda in Shipshawana right after Christmas, she'd intended to be gone for only a few weeks, just long enough to help Brenda before and after the birth of her third child. But Brenda had developed complications and needed assistance much longer than expected. So what had started out as a 3-week trip had ended up lasting almost 3 months. Martha hadn't really minded. With both her younger Schwester and her widowed dad recently married, it had felt gut to be so needed and so in charge again. But now she was looking forward to being back home, especially after the nearly 5-hour drive it had taken to get here. As soon as the car pulled up to a stop in front of the house, Skip, her familia's English shepherd, came bounding out to greet her, barking as he ran circles around the vehicle. Martha quickly climbed out and bent to accept the dog's enthusiastic greeting. Before she could straighten, the door to the house opened and her dad and Leah, his new Frau, stepped out with broad, welcoming smiles. "Guten Tag." The sound of Dad's booming voice let her know she was finally home again. "You made gut time." Martha gave him a tight hug. "I was able to get an earlier-than-expected start, and Virginia here is a wonderful gut driver." Leah stepped forward, holding her arms out for her own hug. "It's so gut to see you back home safe and sound. We missed you." "Leah cooked your favorite meal," Dad said as he paid the driver and picked up the biggest of her 2 bags. "Chicken and dumplings." "Danke, that sounds lovely." Actually, chicken and dumplings was her Schwester Greta's favorite dish, but Dad had never kept those little details straight, and at least Leah had tried. Before she could take another step, an unfamiliar dog came bounding from around the house and began barking at her. Martha took an involuntary step back just as her dad uttered an authoritative "Lady, come!" The animal immediately went to her dad's side, tongue lolling and tail wagging. "What have we here?" Martha studied the animal in surprise. She hadn't been aware Dad was looking for a second dog. They'd gotten along with just Skip for quite a while. Lady was smaller than Skip and didn't look at all like a working dog. In fact, she was the kind of dog Dad called a useless ball of fur and refused to tolerate. What was going on? "Lady showed up here about 2 months ago and we couldn't find her owner. I think someone must have dumped her." Dad stroked his beard disapprovingly. Leah spoke up. "She had a litter of pups about 3 weeks later. 5 of the cutest little things you ever did see." She smiled at Martha. "After you get settled in, I can show them to you if you like." Leah had obviously wanted to keep the animal, which had no doubt influenced Dad's current tolerance of the animal. Dad waved her over. "Martha, you should make friends with Lady since she lives here now." With a nod, Martha approached the dog and squatted down, holding her hand out for the animal to sniff. If Dad was happy having Lady here, who was she to disapprove? It took several minutes, but the dog appeared to be naturally friendly and was soon accepting head scratches from Martha. "Come," Leah finally said. "I know you must be tired after your long drive, and Lady will still be here this afternoon. Let's get you and your things inside." Martha stood, trying to ignore the little twinge of discomfort she felt at Leah's words. She knew her stiefmom meant well, but her phrasing had made Martha feel like she was a guest rather than a member of the household. Then, as soon as they stepped through the front door, Martha paused, noting a number of changes since she'd last seen the place. Several pieces of furniture had been moved around, and an unfamiliar rocking chair had been added. It held a place of honor next to her dad's recliner. The chair that formerly held that position, the one her own mom had favored, now sat across the room.